Did you know that over 360 million Christians face severe persecution worldwide? The freedom to worship is not universal, and for many, their faith is a matter of life and death. From imprisonment to violence, the challenges Christians endure will leave you in shock. In this script, we uncover the harsh realities in 10 countries where Christians face unimaginable hardships. Don't miss out on these heartbreaking yet important facts. Like, subscribe, and comment to help us spread awareness about religious freedom. Stay till the end to learn how you can make a difference. Number 10. Mali. 1% Christian population faces extreme danger, particularly in the northern regions controlled by Islamist extremist groups. Once known for its cultural and religious diversity, Mali has become a hotspot for persecution. With organizations like Ansar Dini and Jama'at Nasr al-Islam wal-Muslimin enforcing harsh laws that suppress Christianity. Did you know that 50% of Christian churches in Mali have been destroyed in the past decade? In areas under extremist control, Christians are often given a grim choice: convert to Islam, flee, or face death. Many Christian leaders have been abducted, tortured, or executed for refusing to renounce their faith. Women and girls from Christian families are frequently targeted, forced into marriages with militants as a means of erasing their cultural and religious identity. Why hasn't the Malian government been able to stop this? Ongoing insurgencies have weakened state authority, leaving extremist groups free to impose their rule. 80% of Mali's Christians have been displaced internally or forced to flee to neighboring countries. Despite the risks, underground churches continue to operate, offering a glimmer of hope and community for believers determined to keep their faith alive. Number 9. Niger. Christians make up just 0.3% of the population, a tiny minority in a country where 98% identify as Muslim. This West African nation, while traditionally known for peaceful coexistence, has seen a sharp rise in violence against Christians in recent years. Did you know that extremist groups like Boko Haram and Islamic State in the Greater Sahara are increasingly targeting Christian communities? In rural areas, churches are frequently burned, and believers are forced to flee their homes to escape violence. Reports indicate that over 70% of Christian villages in Niger have been abandoned, leaving once thriving communities in ruins. Women and children are particularly vulnerable, with many being abducted and subjected to forced marriages or conversions. Why is Niger struggling to protect its Christian minority? The weak government and porous borders make it difficult to combat extremist groups effectively. Economic hardships also exacerbate tensions, with many blaming minority groups for their struggles. Despite these challenges, Nigerian Christians continue to worship, often gathering in secret to avoid detection. Their perseverance is a remarkable testament to the strength of faith in the face of relentless adversity. Number 8. Sudan. With its 4% Christian population, has seen decades of hostility toward believers. Following the 2019 coup, hopes for religious freedom were crushed. Sharia law continues to dominate, leaving Christians vulnerable to imprisonment, violence, and forced conversions. Did you know that in Sudan, over 80% of Christian churches have been demolished since 2015? The government labels Christianity as a foreign threat, leading to widespread discrimination. For women, the situation is even worse, with reports of forced marriages and abuse aimed at erasing their faith. Why hasn't the international community done more? It's because Sudan's political instability makes it nearly impossible to enforce human rights laws. 60% of Sudanese Christians live in refugee camps or as displaced individuals, clinging to their faith amidst unimaginable challenges. Number 7. Pakistan. Christians make up just 1.27% of the population. The country's infamous blasphemy laws are a death sentence for many. Did you know that since 1987, over 1,500 Christians have been accused of blasphemy, often without evidence? Christian women are frequently abducted, while entire communities face mob violence over mere rumors. 80% of blasphemy cases end in the accused being lynched or jailed indefinitely. Why do Christians continue to live here? For many, it's their ancestral home, but the cost is high. Pakistan's oppressive policies and extremist attitudes leave 90% of Christians living in poverty and fear. Number 6, Iran has a Christian minority of 0.4% compared to its 99.6% Muslim majority. The government views Christianity as a Western agenda, leading to constant surveillance of believers. Did you know that attending a house church in Iran can result in 10+ years of imprisonment? Over 100 Christians are arrested annually on charges like propaganda against the state. The Iranian regime ensures that no Christian voices are heard, censoring all religious publications. Despite this, underground churches continue to grow, but at a great cost. Why doesn't the international community intervene? Iran's geopolitical tensions make it a sensitive issue, leaving 75% of Iranian Christians vulnerable to persecution without global support. Number 5, Yemen. In Yemen, Christians make up less than 0.1% of the population, a minuscule figure in a predominantly Muslim nation with 99.9% adherence to Islam. Practicing Christianity here is akin to living with a death sentence. Did you know that the ongoing civil war has made life not only dangerous, but almost impossible for Christians? The small Christian community is often caught in the crossfire of the conflict between the Houthi rebels and other factions. 100% of Yemeni Christians practice their faith in secrecy to avoid persecution, imprisonment, or execution. Churches, if they exist at all, are hidden in private homes, and public displays of faith are forbidden. Extremist groups like Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula actively target Christians, often accusing them of collaborating with foreign enemies. These groups have killed countless Christians for refusing to renounce their faith. Why does this persecution persist? Yemen's government, overwhelmed by internal chaos, offers no protection to minority groups. Even aid organizations face significant obstacles in delivering humanitarian assistance. Reports estimate that 95% of Yemeni Christians live in dire poverty, often without access to basic resources like clean water and food. Despite the hardship, the faith of Yemen's Christians endures a testament to their resilience and courage. Number 4, Eritrea. With a Christian population of 2.4%, is one of the most oppressive countries for believers. The government mandates strict registration of churches, but only a few denominations, like the Orthodox, Catholic, and Lutheran churches, are recognized. Did you know that Christians from unregistered denominations face imprisonment in conditions worse than you can imagine? Over 2,000 Christians are currently jailed in Eritrea, many without trial or charges. One of the most shocking forms of persecution involves detaining Christians in metal shipping containers under extreme temperatures. These containers act as makeshift prisons, where detainees are exposed to scorching heat during the day and freezing cold at night. Some prisoners remain in these conditions for years, enduring unimaginable suffering. The Eritrean government, led by President Isaias Afwerki, views unregulated Christianity as a threat to its authoritarian control. Why does the international community struggle to help? Eritrea's isolationist policies make it nearly impossible to exert external pressure. As a result, 75% of Eritrean Christians who belong to unregistered groups are forced to practice their faith in secrecy. Despite these challenges, many refuse to abandon their beliefs, holding on to hope in the harshest of circumstances. Number 3, Somalia. Christians make up less than 0.3% of the population. This predominantly Muslim country, 99%, sees Christianity as a direct threat. Did you know that Al-Shabaab, an Islamist militant group, has declared Christians their prime target? Converts from Islam are often killed on the spot. Reports indicate that over 95% of Somali Christians have either fled the country or live in hiding. Churches are non-existent, and practicing Christianity publicly is impossible. Even worse, the government turns a blind eye to the violence, allowing extremists to terrorize believers freely. Why do Christians risk staying here? For many, it's the hope of keeping their families together. But the cost is high. 100% of Somali Christians are at risk of persecution or death with no international protection in sight. Number 2, North Korea. North Korea is ranked as one of the worst places for Christians. Less than 1.5% of the population practices Christianity, while the Kim dynasty enforces atheism. Did you know owning a Bible can result in a death sentence or lifelong imprisonment in labor camps? The regime considers Christianity a Western ideology aimed at undermining the government. Over 50,000 Christians are currently in North Korea's concentration camps, facing torture, starvation, and execution. Underground churches exist, but attending one is a life-threatening act of defiance. North Korea's laws are so extreme that even a whispered prayer can lead to an entire family's arrest. The punishment? Death for some and generations of suffering in camps for others. How has this gone on for decades without intervention? It's the iron grip of the regime's totalitarian rule. Number 1, Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, being a Christian is a death sentence. The Christian population here is less than 0.01% compared to the 99.7% Muslim majority. Despite the U.S. withdrawal in 2021, the Taliban's return has made life for Christians even worse. Churches are non-existent, and worship must occur in secret. Did you know that Christians discovered by the Taliban are subjected to imprisonment, torture, or even execution? The fear of forced conversions to Islam is real, with families being torn apart under pressure. 98% of Christians here live in underground networks, where one slip can lead to their capture. The international community estimates that over 90% of Afghan Christians have tried to flee the country since 2021. But for many, escape is impossible. Why do these horrors continue unchecked? It's because leaving Islam in Afghanistan is punishable by death, with no room for dissent or mercy. The stories of these 10 countries are heartbreaking, but vital to understand. Christians around the world face unimaginable challenges, and their voices need to be heard. Help us spread awareness by liking, subscribing, and commenting on this video. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching.